Welcome to Big Breaking News of America. A detailed explanation of Keith Hunter Jesperson, known as the Happy Face Killer, covering his crimes, victims, exposure, trial, verdict, prison time, and his family's reactions, organized in points for clarity. 1. Overview of Keith Hunter Jesperson, the Happy Face Killer. Background: Keith Hunter Jesperson was born on April 6, 1955, in Chilliwack, British Columbia, Canada, to Leslie and Gladys Jesperson. He was the middle child of 5, with 2 brothers and 2 sisters. His father was a domineering alcoholic, and Jesperson faced abuse and bullying due to his large size, eventually reaching 6 feet 6 inches. Early behavior: Jesperson exhibited violent tendencies from childhood, torturing and killing animals, such as strangling gophers and hanging kittens, which he did in front of his daughter Melissa. These acts foreshadowed his later crimes. Career and personal life: Jesperson worked as a long-haul truck driver, which gave him mobility across the U.S. He married Rose Huck in 1975, and they had 3 children, including Melissa Moore. The couple divorced in 1990, after which Jesperson's killings began. Nickname origin: Jesperson earned the Happy Face Killer moniker by signing anonymous confession letters and notes with smiley faces, seeking attention for his crimes. 2 victims of the Happy Face Killer. Jesperson murdered at least 8 women between 1990 and 1995, primarily targeting sex workers, transients, and acquaintances. His method was typically rape followed by strangulation, and he dumped bodies along highways. Below are details of his confirmed victims. Tonja Bennett, 1990. Details: 23-year-old Tonja Bennett was Jesperson's first known victim, killed in January 1990 in Portland, Oregon. After meeting her at a bar, Jesperson lured her to his home, where he beat and strangled her following a perceived rejection. He cut buttons off her jeans to avoid leaving fingerprints and dumped her body in a ravine near the Columbia River Gorge. Initial Miss Justice: Laverne Pavlinak falsely confessed to helping her abusive boyfriend, John Sosnovsk, kill Bennett, hoping to escape their relationship. Both were convicted in 1991, Pavlinak got life with a 10-year minimum, Sosnovsk got life after pleading no contest. They served 4 years until Jesperson's confession freed them in 1995. Cynthia Lynn Rose, 1992. Details: killed in September 1992 in Turlock, California. Little is known about Rose, but Jesperson admitted to strangling her, consistent with his pattern of targeting vulnerable women. Patricia Skipple, 1992. Details: murdered in Gilroy, California, around 1992. Her body was found along California State Route 152, about 30 miles north of Salinas. Jesperson confessed to her killing, and she was identified as one of his victims. Claudia, 1992. Details: an unidentified woman, referred to as Claudia by Jesperson, was killed in August 1992 near Blythe, California. Her body was found along Highway 95, wearing a motorcycle t-shirt and with a tattoo of 2 dots on her right thumb. Jesperson described her as 20-30 years old, 5'6", with shaggy blonde hair. As of 2024, she remains unidentified, though DNA advances have linked her to a deceased father from Cameron County, Texas, and maternal ties to Louisiana or Southeast Texas. Suzanne Kjell-Enberg, 1994. Details: 34-year-old Kjell-Enberg was killed in August 1994, and her remains were found in September 1994 near Holt, Florida, off Interstate 10. Jesperson initially claimed her name was Susan or Suzette. She was identified in October 2023 using DNA technology. Lori Ann Pentland, 1994. Details: murdered in Salem, Oregon, in 1994. Jesperson strangled her, and her body was found along a roadside. Limited details are available, but she was confirmed as a victim through his confessions. Angela Mae Subrise, 1995. Details: killed in January 1995 in Laramie County, Wyoming. Jesperson admitted to strangling her and dumping her body, continuing his pattern of targeting women he met during his travels. Julie Ann Winningham, 1995. Details: 41-year-old Winningham, Jesperson's girlfriend, was his final known victim, killed in March 1995 in Camas, Washington. After a fight where she accused him of rape, he strangled her. Her body was found on March 11, 1995, along Highway 14 in Skamania County, Washington. A receipt with Jesperson's signature linked him to the crime. Additional claims: Jesperson claimed to have killed up to 166 people, but only 8 murders are confirmed. No evidence supports a 9th victim in Texas, as depicted in the fictionalized Paramount and series Happy Face. 3. Exposal of the Happy Face killer. Initial anonymity: after killing Tonja Bennett, Jesperson was frustrated that Pavlinak and Sosnovsk received attention for his crime. To claim credit, he wrote a confession on a Montana bus terminal bathroom wall, signed with a smiley face, but it went unnoticed. Letters to media: seeking notoriety, Jesperson sent anonymous letters to media outlets and police, starting with a 6-page letter to the Oregonian detailing his murders, each signed with a smiley face. Journalist Phil Stanford dubbed him the Happy Face Killer based on these signatures. Confession to family: in 1995, while awaiting trial for Winningham's murder, Jesperson confessed to his brother Brad in a letter, admitting to 8 murders. "I am sorry that I turned out this way. I have been a killer for 5 years and have killed 8 people. Assaulted more." Brad turned the letter over to police. Turning himself in, after Winningham's body was found, police linked Jesperson to the crime via a receipt. Questioned on March 12, 1995, he confessed the next day, admitting to Winningham's murder and others. He also expressed a desire to free Pavlinak and Sosnovsk, stating, "I wanted to get those 2 people out of prison." Key evidence: Jesperson provided details only the killer would know, such as the location of Tonja Bennett's purse, which had not been found at the crime scene. This corroborated his confession and led to the release of Pavlinak and Sosnovsk in November 1995. For trial. Charges: Jesperson was charged with multiple counts of first-degree murder for the deaths of Tonja Bennett, Julie Winningham, and other victims across several states. Plea: in March 1995, Jesperson pleaded guilty to the murders of Bennett and Winningham. He later confessed to additional murders in other jurisdictions, including California and Florida. Legal proceedings: his trials occurred in multiple states due to the geographic spread of his crimes. For example, in Riverside County, California, he pleaded guilty in 2010 to the murder of Claudia. Pavlinak and Sosnovsk's release: in November 1995, Oregon Judge Paul Lipscomb vacated Sosnovsk's sentence, ruling his no-contest plea was involuntary due to death penalty pressure. Pavlinak's conviction was not overturned, as she was convicted by a jury, but both were released after Jesperson's confession. Lipscomb criticized Pavlinak for obstructing justice, allowing Jesperson to kill more women. 5. Verdict. Sentences: Jesperson received multiple life sentences for his crimes. Oregon: 4 life sentences without parole for the murders of Bennett, Winningham, Pentland, and others, handed down in 1995. California: in January 2010, he was sentenced to 15 years to life for the murder of Claudia in Riverside County. Other states: additional life sentences were imposed in Wyoming and Florida for murders like Subrise and Kjell-Enberg, though some sentences run concurrently. Total: Jesperson is serving at least 5 non-consecutive life sentences with no possibility of parole, ensuring he will remain in prison for life. Recantation: Jesperson later recanted his confessions, but the evidence, including specific details about crime scenes, kept his convictions intact. 6. Prison time. Current location: as of 2025, Jesperson, now 70, is incarcerated at the Oregon State Penitentiary in Salem, Oregon, where he has been since 1995. Activities in prison: Jesperson is a prolific letter writer, corresponding with journalists and others. He also creates artwork sold on murderabilia sites, a controversial practice. Restrictions: due to his enjoyment of media attention, Oregon authorities barred him from face-to-face interviews, though he has given phone interviews, such as to ABC News in 2010. Behavior: Jesperson remains manipulative, expressing a desire for family reunions in letters, which his daughter Melissa views as attempts to control. He shows no remorse, according to Melissa, who believes he would kill again if released. 7. Family members' reactions. Jesperson's crimes deeply affected his family, particularly his daughter Melissa Moore, who has publicly shared her experiences. Other family members' reactions are less documented. Melissa Moore, daughter. Discovery: in spring 1995, when Melissa was 15, her mother, Rose Huck, informed her and her siblings that their father was in prison for murder. This revelation shattered Melissa, who struggled to reconcile her father's loving facade with his crimes. Prison visits: Melissa visited Jesperson twice. 1995, after his arrest, Jesperson told her, "Missy, my best advice is to change your last name, which she took as an admission of guilt. She followed his advice. 2005, accompanied by her then husband and children, Melissa visited again. Jesperson offered to explain his motives, but she declined, fearing manipulation. He then discussed mundane topics like mortgages, which she found bizarre. Public advocacy, Melissa has embraced her past, sharing her story through book, Shattered Silence, The Untold Story of a Serial Killer's Daughter, 2009. Podcast, Happy Face, 2018, exploring her father's crimes and her journey. TV appearances, on 2020's Dr. Phil and Monster in My Family, where she met the sister of Tonja Bennett, expressing empathy without apologizing for her father. Paramount N series, as an executive producer on Happy Face, 2025, she ensured her childhood was accurately portrayed, though the series fictionalizes her adult life. Victim advocacy, Melissa has connected with victims' families, including Bennett's, and Don Slagle, a survivor of Jesperson's attacks. She works with families affected by serial killers, receiving hundreds of emails seeking advice. Views on Jesperson, Melissa believes her father is a psychopath with no remorse, calling his murders errors in judgment in his letters. She advocates for the death penalty for justice for his victims, not herself, and avoids contact to protect her children from his manipulation. Children's exposure, Melissa's children visited Jesperson in 2005 but have no memory of it. She regrets the visit and shields them from his influence, especially after he wrote letters about them. Her daughter Aspen, aware of her grandfather's crimes since age 10, refuses contact. Rose Huck, ex-wife. Reaction: after Jesperson's arrest, Rose refused to discuss him or his crimes, leaving Melissa to learn details from library newspapers. Little is known about her current stance, as she has remained private. Other children: Jesperson's two other children maintain private lives and have not publicly commented on their father's crimes. Brad Jesperson, brother. Role in exposal: Brad turned over Jesperson's confession letter to police, a pivotal act in his arrest. His reaction beyond this is not well documented. Extended family: Jesperson's parents and siblings have not publicly shared their reactions. His father denied abuse claims, but other family members corroborated Jesperson's accounts of a violent upbringing to author Jack Olson. 8 additional notes. Survivor: Dawn Slagle is the only known woman to survive an attack by Jesperson. She shared graphic details with Melissa, helping her confront the reality of her father's crimes. Media portrayal: the Paramount N series Happy Face, 2025, starring Dennis Quaid as Jesperson and Annalee Ashford as Melissa, dramatizes their story. While Melissa's childhood is accurate, the plot involving a 9th victim and frequent prison visits is fictional. Ongoing investigations: authorities continue to identify victims, particularly Claudia, using DNA technology. Riverside County's efforts in 2024 highlight the push to give closure to victims' families. Jesperson's lack of remorse: Melissa and others note Jesperson's lack of genuine regret, with his apologies centered on being caught rather than his actions. His continued letter writing and desire for attention reinforce this perception. Conclusion: Keith Hunter Jesperson's reign as the Happy Face Killer left a trail of devastation, claiming at least 8 lives and impacting countless others. His exposure through his own confessions, driven by a need for notoriety, led to justice for his victims and the exoneration of the wrongly convicted. His multiple life sentences ensure he remains imprisoned, while his daughter Melissa has transformed her trauma into advocacy, supporting victims' families and raising awareness about the impact of serial killers. The case remains active as authorities work to identify remaining victims, reflecting the enduring quest for closure. Thank you for watching Big Breaking News of America. Make sure to subscribe and turn on the bell icon for more news updates. Share our channel with your friends and family.